And welcome also to Anysha Roberts, Marketing Director of PETPORT Global, for more on ensuring safe and comfortable journeys for our four-legged companion. Welcome, Anysha. Great to have you.
Hi, thank you so much, Mr. Ford. How are you?
Mr. Ford is my dad. I'm just Clarence, and I'm great. Thank you.
I always have to ask permission. Thank you, Clarence.
It's
So lovely to be here with you today.
Great to have you. I've just seen industry spring up around the growing dog community. Are you seeing that play out in business as well? Are you seeing more people coming into this wonderful journey of having a pet in their lives?
Oh, 100%. It's been like this for years, but I think now it's more at the forefront because we got these modern age people who aren't necessarily having kids anymore. So what they do is the kids are the fur-legged fur babies. So if they are moving internationally, if they are moving the country, of course, nobody gets left behind. And the companionship involved with having, whether it be cats, whether it be snakes, tarantulas, anything of the sort, we are growing as a nation and becoming more comfortable with having these pets, not only at home, but in public. As they do in Europe, you can take your pet with you to a coffee shop. You can take them anywhere. And that's also growing trends here in South Africa as well.
Yeah, and I guess with younger people, lots of mobility that they have these days, lots of movement in their lives. And you say you a partner to that move, regardless of where.
100%, whether you are leaving South Africa, whether you are domestically traveling, like you said, festive season's coming upon us. People think that people leave their fur babies at home with a pet sitter. Actually not. They go on holiday with them.
Yeah.
There's pet-friendly accommodation throughout South Africa, even the world. I just dealt with a client now who's coming on holiday to South Africa with a family from Spain. So these things happen all the time, and I think that people aren't aware that these services exist and that we help you move fur babies from A to B or Z, wherever you need.
Yeah, and I think there's also maybe a perception that you've got to jump through lots of hoops and that the dogs from Africa are going to be scanned for all kinds of stuff, and it's not necessarily, let's just say, an easy thing to put the pets through. Just how simple is it to get your dog from here to go on holiday with you overseas or to move overseas?
Let's look at domestically. Domestically is easy. So if you're going on holiday to Durban and you want your fur baby to go with you, all you need is annual vaccinations up to date. Okay. So of course, just as you and I get vaccinated, your fur babies also need to get vaccinated. So as long as they're older than 14 days and less than a year, they can travel with you comfortably. Now, internationally is a bit different. Every country has their rules and regulations. Like Canada is the easiest to go to. Basically, you need a microchip because no fur baby leaving the country can leave without a microchip, and annual vaccinations, and they can travel after 30 days. But then there's more complicated countries like New Zealand, Australia, that can be a 6 to 12 month process getting fur babies ready. So this is why we're around to also not highlight only the differences in country regulations, but the timelines, because there's nothing worse than, families who have prepped everything to the T. They've got new schools, they've got new jobs, they have got new houses across the seas, they have done everything. They reach out to us and they're like, okay, we're traveling in a month, can you please get fur babies on the same flight as us? And then we have to break the news that, I'm so sorry, but did you know that traveling to Europe is a 3 to 4 month process, and they do require certain vaccinations to be in order. So also chatting to you and getting word out about this is to prep people and let them know, when you start your relocation plans, don't leave fur babies or your pets for last minute. Prepare yourself, because there's nothing worse than sitting with the stress, and we try to alleviate all that stress away from you. So make sure you give yourself enough time. If you're planning a relocation, do it early enough, get quotes from different companies, and work with someone who you feel comfortable with, in order to not have that stress of last minute trying to find a pet sitter or having to, find a kenneling service, even though we can assist with amazing partner kennels. Mm-hmm. We just want to make sure that you know about this information as well in advance as you possibly can.
Just how traumatic is it for a pet? Is it traumatic at all?
No, the trauma sits with the parents.
Always the problem.
Obviously, yeah, we take all that stress on us, and we always imagine worst case scenario. all that fur babies or pets need is love, care, and routine. And that's what we make sure we provide. We also, school the parents. We tell them, if we're going to pick up fur baby and you crying into their neck, already their emotions are heightened. They're like, what's wrong with mom? Is mom okay? Where am I going? What's happening? They're already thinking like something's wrong and mom's not okay. So they need to leave you in a great space, and they get love, attention, and care throughout the entire journey. When they're transiting through stations like Emirates through Dubai, they get taken to a special animal reception center. They get to have a run, a pee, and a poo, hopefully not all at the same time. They're not in their crate. They're in a safe enclosure with 24-hour vets on site that give them the love and care and get them ready for the next leg. So it's all important about how they leave you will dictate their journey.
Yeah.
And, they aren't sitting, unfortunately, with us in the passenger section, but they're in cargo. It's dimly lit. It's the same temperature that we have. They're actually in a, travel crate that is specifically custom to their measurements. So they get to lie down and sleep for the entirety of the journey, which is what they do because there's no stimulation keeping them awake.
I know a couple, a Finnish couple, and they are swallows, so they live 6 months in in Finland, and 6 months here, and their dog does the same. Is it expensive? So the dog is also a swallow.
I think he's living his best life, 6 months here, 6 months then. You can see these dogs, when you open the crate door, they get in and they settle down. They're like, yep, we know the procedure. Let's go. Sure. We're off to now. But you asked the most important question about, is it expensive? For us as a company, we know that it's not an easy exercise. So that's why we provide like 3 different airlines when we quote you, so that you can see this is not a thumb suck. This is not a number that we pull out from somewhere. Every airline has different rates, and every month each airline updates their rates. So it's obviously according to which airline you're going with. Is it a direct line option? But then we also present you with a DIY package. So if you want to do a lot of the work yourself to save some money, you do have that option as well. So one thing you need to know is, and I always recommend, even if you're thinking about it, let's say you're in university and you're considering you might want to go study abroad, not study abroad, but work abroad and take, your fur baby with you, just get a range of quotes. See how everyone's quoting and the different methods of quoting, and see what works best for you. You might actually discover that it's not as expensive as you think, but it's always best to start with a full comprehensive package, because then that will set you up and make sure that even if you're only traveling in a year's time, at least you have a number sitting in your head, compared to people who come to us and they think, oh, but my flight was this much, so surely my fur baby's flight will be the same. Unfortunately, it's not. You booking a seat on a plane. We are booking space in cargo. And cargo, you're paying for every millimeter and every gram that you take up in that cargo space. Yeah. So it's important to have an idea in your head, because unfortunately, like I said, it's not a thumb-suckable number. It's airlines that come to us and give us the rates, and therefore we, provide you that costing accordingly.
Yeah. I'm not certain. I think my dogs kind of enjoy the home, and I wouldn't want to put them through the trauma. If I'm going to go away for 2 weeks, they're going to have to stay at home. They're going to have to get a little pet sitter. And the process.
It's all you need to do what's best for you and your family. If you are, traveling domestically, 100%, your fur baby might not go with you on holiday. It all depends on what you and your family are comfortable with, and they might have a great time having a break from you as well. But when it comes to international travel and immigration and relocation, we hope that we don't have those families and parents that are rehoming or leaving. Or worse, we have had people say, oh, no, I'll just send my dog across the Golden Bridge or the Rainbow Bridge. And we hate that concept, because there's always a plan that can be made to make sure that fur babies also get taken wherever you're going. Nobody gets left behind. Nobody needs to go through the trauma of your whole family relocating and they literally leave you at home, hoping that the SPCA will just sort you out.
And this happens far too often, and that's exactly why we took this opportunity to chat with you. We're going to have to wrap it there. Thank you. Anysha Roberts is the Marketing Director of PETPORT Global.